All right, peace, peace. We're going live, and well, we are live. We're about to set up on Instagram. Let me do this. Why this is not? Oh, there we go. Okay. Uh, Bear with me. All right. So if you see the title is about water. So I was inspired to talk about this. This is so elemental to life. We think about only second to breathing, second to oxygen. When we think about water, how important is water? They say we can go only a certain amount of days. Obviously, minutes with oxygen. I've heard 7 days or a certain amount of days. So we're talking about water today, and then I'll take questions as always. This is our weekly live stream. I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Yes, so it's me rolling solo once again, broadcasting from Paradise, Panama. Was really just talk about this topic. Water. Are you drinking too much water? Ask yourselves. I know some people drink upwards to a gallon or more of water. The thing is like you got to ask yourself, why is your body, if you're drinking that amount of water, if we look at our cousins in the wild kingdom, they are not drinking that amount of water. They're drinking actually very little water. So the question is, why are we drinking, so much water? Well, the answer is really clear. One of the things that I talk about is way more important than drinking our water is eating our water. Way more important than drinking our water is eating our water. So, what foods have water? Fruits and vegetables. If we're eating fruits, if we're eating largely fruits and vegetables, we are getting water. In fact, we're getting plenty of water. And the thing is that when we're eating our water, we're really getting hydrated. See, if you're eating a bunch of starches and high concentrated foods, cooked starches, heavy oils, heavy fats, heavy protein. We hear so much protein. No one gets sick from a protein deficiency. No one dies from a protein deficiency. If anything, the reverse is true. When we indulge in protein, that creates issues. Protein is hard to digest, it's very dehydrating. And if you eat a high protein diet, that will likely lead to cancer among a whole host of different issues. So now getting back to water. How much water really should we really be drinking? Well, I mean, I drink water, obviously. However, I haven't drunk bottled water in a long time, probably at least 15 years. I have not drinking any bottled water. Unless I'm bottling it with like fresh juice, coconut water, and even coconut water. I'm not drinking a gallon of coconut water a day unless, even when I'm fasting on coconut water, I'm not drinking a gallon of coconut water. I'm drinking probably, usually the good measure, most people have approximately 96 ounces of blood, which is 3/4 of a gallon. So if we have 3/4 of a gallon of fluid or blood plasma, why are we drinking more than that? Well, that just lets you know, if you're drinking a gallon of water or more, that means that your diet is toxic. There's no reason why we should be drinking that much water. If anything, it's really just really, I could even make a case that it may be exhausting the kidneys, because again, it's not hydrating you. If you're not eating your water, you're not getting hydrated, period. I mean, I don't care if, how much water you're drinking. It's really just running right through your system. It's not absorbing into the tissues. See, if we're eating high moisture fruits, watermelon, or melons, citruses, tropical fruits like pineapple, papaya, mango. We have some exotic fruits, mangosteen, durian, papaya. What's some of the ones I've been seeing here? Well, there's custard apple and soursop, and there's so many varieties of fruit. And there's so many fruits and so many varieties of different fruits. One of the things is like, again, one of the things I wanted to really, inspire you today was to really, think about not only how much water you're drinking and how it's related to your diet. Because again, you may be accustomed to drinking a gallon of water, but again, if you're looking at your food, that means you're not eating any water. If you're drinking up to a gallon of water a day or more, you're not eating any water. You're not eating any fruits or vegetables. And the thing is that you're gonna, again, it's gonna lead to dehydration. And because the tissues are going to get dehydrated, that's going to lead to the breakdown of the body and the tissues. You're going to have all types of, different issues. They're going to creep up, and aging, premature aging, arthritis. We know all the issues: hypertension. All of these things from really not eating our water. One of the things that, I've really been learning, I've experienced and learned over the years is, how our fruits get demonized. We talk about, I can't, man, I'd be a millionaire if I heard the amount of times to say, oh, I'm not eating any sugar. It's such a nonsensical statement to make, simply because our body has to break down everything we eat into a simple sugar in order for it to nourish the cells. So it's really the packaging that makes all the difference. If we're eating fresh food that is 80 to 90% water, in a balanced way, then we're going to be eating plenty of water. and we're not going to be drinking so much water. Because the other question is too is like, okay, what's your source of the water you're drinking? You know, people would like to talk about the alkaline water or, you know, reverse osmosis. All these are mechanical waters that are not truly hydrating oneself. So again, I just wanted to really raise the question, you know, because I know when I've eaten, even myself, you know, I could even do better. You know, I don't eat as much fruit sometimes. I can get more into the vegetables and the nuts and the dehydrated stuff, you know, especially, and even, you know, because even like folks who are on the raw food path and who are eating largely raw fruits, raw vegan, you can be dehydrated very easily. There's a lot of the oil, because we can use a good number of oils, nuts, using salt and spices. Those things can be very dehydrating. So the thing is like for all of us, is it really comes down to the true food. We are truly fruitarians. Our bodies are designed to climb trees and pick fruits. Uh, um, is probably the one food, even our vegetables, we want to chop up and blend up dressings to make salads. With our fruits, they come ready, they come prepared, perfect. There's almost nothing that we can do to really, yeah, we can blend them together, and we like to have combination flavors, and I get that. And but really, the thing is that one of my suggestions is to start having, if you're having any, first of all, I don't subscribe to breakfast at all, but if you're having breakfast, let's say the exception is when, let's say you work out in the morning, then yeah, you should have breakfast, but it should only be fruit. If anything that passes your lips in the morning should be a high fruit meal, and not these fruit salads. These fruit salads can, a lot of times, some of the fruits are not properly combined. So it's best and it's easiest to just have lots of fruit, like just one or two different fruits. You can mix berries together, like strawberries and blueberries, or raspberries and blackberries, or a melon. If you do a melon, you can make a whole melon, a whole honeydew, a whole watermelon, a whole cantaloupe, things like that. Or if you just want to make a juice from your fruit, that's fine too. But if anything, let that be your water. Try it, and then for lunch, really almost the same thing. You can, but for lunch, you can maybe, go to a fruit that is not as much water, that has a little more density, which is like a banana, for example. You get into, eating a bunch of bananas, and then the thing is, like, you'll find that you will have no thirst. You'll be able to eat. You won't have to be drinking all of these, like, these processed waters. That's what they are. They're processed waters, where they're adding lots of chemicals. And even if we're removing the impurities, by reverse osmosis, carbon filtration, etc., etc. These waters are not hydrating us. If we're not eating our water, we're not getting hydrated. So coconut water obviously that's why coconut water is so unique, because coconut water is more than just water. I say coconut water is water and food simultaneously. Coconut water is the only water you can drink and will produce a bowel movement. Name me any other water that will do that, and you can't do it. Like spring water, all of these fancy designer waters, are not going to produce, are not going to move your bowels, are not going to clean your bowels. So we got to really eat our water, because again, the body is a juicer. The body is a juicer. If we're not, it's like we're eating like this high stimulating dense food that is very spicy, and I enjoy that too as a chef. I can appreciate a well designed, especially healthy raw food, raw cuisine. I mean, I'm your guy, for that. But largely, I try to really keep it. Most of my calories, I try to really get with my fruits. Some of my favorites is like my mono meals is definitely my melons. One thing I love about being in places like here in Panama is like I could find those little I call them butter bananas. They taste buttery. They're very creamy. They're not like starchy like those Cavendish bananas I got in the U.S. The smaller bananas I get here, like when I'm in Jamaica, especially the red ones. Oh man. And even at your Asian market, where you find like those smaller bananas, I don't know, they just don't taste right. They don't taste the same. I don't know. And I think that's why when you research bananas, the Cavendish is I mean, there's thousands of varieties of bananas, but the Cavendish is the one that most people get because, it makes they can cut them and pick them green, and they can ripen. They basically make for good travel. But the bananas are good, they have high moisture in the morning. Again, 90 to 90% moisture fruits, berries, melons, citrus. You do your bananas and things like for lunch, and then for dinner, you have your salad, which again, your salad should be, largely, obviously a lot of greens and, a light dressing. If you add a little oil and spices. And I mean, on my raw food journey, I mean, it was that for at least the first 6 months. Every day, fruits and salads. And really, if we, until we arrive there, and again, you got to meet yourself where you are. So if you're already on the raw path, it should be largely fruits and salads. Every once in a while, indulge in a raw cuisine. If you're vegan, you're eating more cooked foods. Again, you want to start to do more raw. So, just try to have some raw food days or raw food weeks, and then, splurge on the cooked food. But the cooked food is very addictive, and it's kind of hard to, balance that out. But yeah, so, just wanted to give y'all that food for thought. We had some questions come in. I'll take some questions now. We could talk about water, or we can talk about fasting. We can talk about health and nature. Anything y'all want to talk about, I'm here to answer your questions as we do every week. Like I said, broadcasting live here in Panama. Really been enjoying my time here, and really, taking advantage of, experiencing nature, the peace and the quietness. That's a whole aspect of health. And that's actually what I was going to talk about, but we'll save that for another time. So, okay. So we got a question here. When you're fasting, what would you suggest for water intake if you're not eating your water? Okay. When you're fasting, okay. Well, the thing is like, the best fast is your coconut water fast. Again, the coconut water is obviously a water. but it's just so much more than that. I could just remember, just to share this story, when I first started my raw food journey, I was doing a lot of water fasting. I was really, I was fasting almost that first year I was raw. I was fasting at least every month, whether it's a week or a few days. I was doing spring water, then I would do distilled water. And one thing that would happen, now I knew my body was cleansing and detoxing and I was losing weight. But what would happen is when I would break the fast, one thing that would happen is once I got that first taste of food, I would really start binging. And it was almost like I would try to make up for loss for those days. So if I did 7 days, right, 7 days of water, or plain water, whether it's distilled or spring water, for the next 7 days, it's like I ate double. And so I really gave up on fasting. And it wasn't until, I got introduced as using the coconut water for a fast. For the first time, I mean, I was changed forever. It was definitely an eye-opening game changer. And not only did I have energy during the fast, because that was the other thing too, is like, I'm fasting on water and my energy, I'm dragging, I'm like, just exercising discipline and saying like, look, I just got to get through this. And, but when I was fasting on coconut water, now don't get me wrong, anybody who's fasted on coconut water, especially for an extended amount of time, I mean, you'll have ups and downs. Your body will go through changes and detoxing reactions, but for the most part, you're going to have everything you need, because coconut water is pretty, like I said, it's a whole food. It's going to cleanse you out. It's going to move your bowels. It's going to rebalance the system. And the thing is like breaking the fast on coconut water, you don't miss a beat. Like you almost like you eat that first taste of food and it's like, oh, okay, like, because you've been fed, you've been nourished probably the best in your life if you fast on coconut water. Like there's no other water that comes close or that comes, I mean, other than like maybe taking some juices, some fruits and juicing them, but that's a processed food. That's a processed food. All right, so we got some more questions here. That was a great question. Let me see if there's any more questions here on Instagram. We got a number of questions. So we're broadcasting here live on YouTube. I want to thank y'all for subscribing and joining the conversation. Again, this is our weekly chat. Yeah, we're doing it on a different day, Thursday. It's really hard for me to stick to one day. We definitely, but we're here on wisdom. This is Jupiter's day. Jupiter's about wisdom. So we might transition it to every Thursday. We'll see. All right. So our next question. All right. So I have a question. There's a question. Our sister Pamela. I have a question about fasting on coconut water. How much coconut water should one drink on a fast? Again, I said that a little earlier. Probably the ideal amount. I mean, you could really drink as much as you want. I mean, if you drink a gallon or more of coconut water, you really drink as much as your heart desires. As we know, coconut water will cleanse the heart. It is high in potassium, and that potassium is a great heart nutrient. But at least I would say 96 ounces, which is 3/4 of a gallon. We have about 96 ounces of blood in our system, so we want to drink at least that amount. That's 6 16-ounce bottles. Or let's see, an amount of coconuts. It's about 6 coconuts maybe about 7, depending on how much water the coconuts have in them. Typically, the ones that I would get in the U.S., they tend to be about 12 ounces. So I'll say about at least 7, 8 coconuts. Usually, you can get a case for 10. A case would have 10 coconuts. So if you did a case a day, or at least a half a case, that's all you would need. All right. All right, so our next question. Thanks for this chat. What are your thoughts on water bottles for kids? Well, kids, I mean, look, kids love fresh juice. It's really, we really have this built-in fear about fruit in general. There's been so much negative press about fruit and about fruit, the sugars in fruits. Again, family, it's all about balance, and it's all about, like proper education, aligning oneself with real truth, real facts. If we're eating, yes, but even when we process, let's say we make watermelon juice, or pineapple juice, things like that. This is the magic also of coconut water, because kids love coconut water. Kids love fresh juice. It's not a hard sell. Anything kids want to eat, like truly that's good for them, it should not be a hard sell. And so, the thing is like, yes, if kids are eating like a lot of dehydrated snacks and, starches and, heavy, foods, then they're gonna want to drink water, and they should, and they should. But the thing is, like, we really want to give them as much fruits, as much juices, fresh juices that you make, as their heart desire. Again, if we take a cue from our cousins in nature, they eat tons of fruits every day, and they don't drink very much water because they're eating their water. So that's really the ideal. It's really, and it's really, a challenge for all of us, because again, what tends to happen is that we want to get the most by doing the least. We want to get the most by doing the least. That's true. That's universally true in all aspects of living. But if we apply that thought to food, we want to get the most by doing the least. The least in this case is chewing and digestion. So if we're able to eat food that is dense, we're getting, or at least we think we're getting more. We're getting more of a satiated feeling by eating something more concentrated. So that therefore, like for example, if we had a bunch of fruit, yeah, we'd have, that's a lot of chewing. That's a lot of food that we have to take in to feel a full feeling. However, we're eating our water, but we would rather eat something that's dense, like cooked starch, and then drink a gallon of water and try to wash it down. And this is the, that's going to lead to issues. It's two extremes. It's two extremes. All right. So we got okay. So yeah. Okay. Quick question here. What's the best coconut water? Obviously the fresh coconut. But if you have to, being in the US, the best coconut water is the Harmless Harvest. That has not been pasteurized. So you want to look for the Harmless Harvest. They sell it in most health food stores. Yes. So also, if you want to, get the Harmless Harvest. It has kind of it's the best of the commercially produced coconut waters. One thing I like to do if I have to drink the Harmless Harvest, I like to add a little lime, fresh lime to it. It has a little bit of a weird taste because I think those coconuts are harvested from Thailand, and even though they are fresh, a lot of those coconuts have been hybridized. They have a weird sweetness to it, like kind of an oversweet. So I like to cut it with a little lime. Even better, Noni juice. If you can get some fresh Noni juice, you have to order it and have them shipped from Hawaii. But there are a couple of Noni farmers in Hawaii who are making Noni juice and not adding any. It's a living juice that can sit in a glass bottle. All right, so good question. Can you use the coconut waters in the cartons for fasting? So if you can't get the Harmless Harvest, they have the ones in the carton. You can fast on those. I have never fasted on those, but you can fast on the ones with the coconut water in the carton. I wouldn't. I mean, again, if that's the best you can do, then that's the best you can do. If it's the coconut water in the carton, that's going to be better than any of your bottled waters. If water is going to be processed, I'm going to drink processed coconut water over pipe water or reverse osmosis or any of these fancy bottled spring waters. All right, so. Yeah, I'm laughing. We got a question on. We've asked this question. We've addressed this topic a number of times. So we got a question about medicating and cannabis smoking. If you've heard me before, cannabis is a healing plant, but when we apply fire to it and inhale the smoke, that's an extreme. The fire turns it into a drug. If we burn any plant, any fruit, any herb, that we change the chemical nature of it, and it makes it very potent and very almost it becomes too intense. And this is why, if we smoke cannabis, then it will produce the cravings, amongst other things, which again is going to throw you off this balance. It almost like it produced too strong of an alkaline state. Yes, the cannabis is alkaline, but if we burn it, it'll create alkalosis. I think I'm saying that right. Which is an extreme alkaline state is not healthy. And therefore your body wants to eat heavy starchy food, heavy starchy acidic food to bring us down. Yeah, we could talk about being alkaline all day, but only slightly alkaline, which again brings us back to our fruits. Our fruits are slightly alkaline. If we eat largely fruits, our fruits keep us on that level 7.2, 7.4 perfect alkaline state. All right, we got some other questions. Yeah, so we asked about we talked about this, the Kangen water, alkaline water. Again, all of these waters are mechanical waters. They don't come close. They don't hydrate us. Is it poison? Is it dangerous? No. Again, if drinking pipe water, Kangen water, alkaline water, any of these these fancy marketing waters, these waters aren't hydrating us on the highest level. Let me say it like that. Yes, if we're drinking water, that is providing a level of hydration. But if you want the highest level of hydration, we have to eat our water. We have to eat our water. Quick question here on Instagram: the young white coconuts or the green coconuts? Well, the young white coconuts, those are green coconuts. They've just been shaven down. Those are the ones that are from Thailand. So what they do is they shave them into a shape where they have like a cone shape. They wrap them in plastic. But to my understanding, I hear that they dip them in a formaldehyde solution. Again, why they do this? Well, I know, coconuts usually, because the thing is, like with the Thai, see, this is how I know that they've been manipulated, not just from dipping them in a solution. They've been manipulated because every Thai coconut is the same size. Nothing in nature, especially off the same tree, grows in the same size unless man is intervening. You go into your organic market and you see everything the same color and the same size and the same shape. That is not how nature produces things. And coconuts, like, again, they're going to be all different sizes, different shapes, different various colors and on the husk. So the thing is that that's really a lesson for all food. Like when we go into markets, you get excited, which is why farmers market is going to be your best bet, even before your organic market. I'd eat local conventional produce from a farmer that is maybe 20 or 50 miles away than some organic produce from California or Mexico or South Africa or wherever they're shipping it from. So water is is the topic of today. But we answering other questions. We're talking about coconuts. We're talking about so to finish up on that question, young white coconuts or the green coconuts, is always the green. You always want to get the greens if you have that option. Sometimes, look, I know some people that can only get the Thai coconuts. And again, your Thai coconuts, I will drink the Thai coconut before I go to the bottled water. At least nature, yes, man is intervening, but nature is still playing a part. So candida. So we got a question about candida. The one thing about candida we got to understand is that candida largely, we could group this into diabetes, everything when we talk about sugar. One of the things is that, and this is especially good for this topic because we opened it up about eating more fruit, which is really eating more water. Because if we're going to eat more water, the best way to do that is to eat more fruit. And when people talk about candida, and if they have candida issues, they be like, "Oh, I can't eat any fruit because that's going to feed the candida," and which is really a fallacy, because you got to ask yourself, was your candida created from eating a lot of fruit in the first place? No. It's like impossible. It's just like the diabetic said, "Oh, I'm diabetic because I'm a fruitarian." Show me a fruitarian with candida, or show me a fruitarian that has diabetes. It just doesn't happen. So largely it's the same. How to beat it is to, again, don't be afraid to eat more fruit. eat more water, because that's what we're doing. We're not eating more fruit. Yeah, it does have sugars, but those sugars we need. I mean, you're either going to get your sugar one way or the other. Even if you're eating a high fat diet, that still has to break down into sugar. Yeah, and it's a big job for us to our bodies to convert fat into sugar. But that's what happens. So how to beat candida is to fast on coconut water, fast on fruits, do a fruit fast. And that candida will go away because the body will rebalance itself. Candida is a result of, again, too much starches in the system, and the body is creating candida it's like basically candida is the body's response to be on hyper drive to eat the excess sugar. There's too much sugar. All right, here's a good question. What about putting fresh lemon juice and reverse osmosis water? That, I mean, at the very minimum, if, you know, again, we got to understand that but at the same time, you know, are you drinking a gallon of reverse osmosis water? It's too much water. It's too much water because one, I mean, you're just pissing it right out, number one. And number two, if you're craving that much water, it's only because you're eating dry food. You're eating dry food dressed in spices and oils, and your body is dehydrated. We got to eat less of the dry, starch, dense food. Then we won't have a desire to drink reverse osmosis water. But if you know, the thing is that I mean, almost anywhere in the world you can get fresh fruit. You can get fresh fruit. We gotta, if we want the highest level of hydration. That's the disclaimer. If we want the highest level of hydration, and we don't have to be drinking, you know, all of this processed water, then we got to go to the source. We got to go to nature, you know, cucumber water, watermelon water, orange juice water. You know, these are water. This is water. This is water in the best form, put in a perfect package with the right amount of sugar, the right amount of fiber, and the right amount of vitamin C. Most of our fruits have a vitamin hormone that we cannot produce, and that's vitamin C. All right. All right. Well, let's finish up with the cannabis. You know, doing tinctures. Yeah. Well, again, I mean, the thing is this. You know, if you know, one of the things one of my favorite quotes, because if you're eating water, if you're eating, you know, if you're following this path and you're eating most of your water throughout the day, you won't need cannabis tinctures. You know, my favorite quote is an Ayurvedic quote. When diet is incorrect, medicine is of no use. When diet is incorrect, medicine is of no use. When diet is correct, medicine is of no need. So let the food be the medicine and the medicine be the food. If you want the cannabis, get the cannabis leaves, cut it up into your salad. You know, again, let the food be the medicine and the medicine be the food. Yes. So we got Harmless Harvest coconut water always has a pinkish hue. That is a good thing. That's a good thing. That's the minerals. Usually the pink, if you see the pink color, that's a good thing. I remember I used to get this one. There used to be this one that used to come from Jamaica, Spring Garden. This was years ago. I haven't seen the Spring Garden in a long time, but I don't think they make that available in the States anymore. But it was a fresh coconut water bottled in Jamaica. They used to freeze it, and it used to turn pink. Most of them used to turn pink. What's Noni juice? Noni juice, man. That's a topic in and of itself. But really quick, the Noni juice is from the Noni fruit. It's a fruit that grows wild in the tropics, in especially in Hawaii. You know, being in the U.S., you can get Noni juice. There are a lot of Noni farmers. You can go online. You know, say Hawaiian Noni juice raw. You want the raw Noni juice. Basically, Noni on the tree, it's a white fruit. Well, at first it's green, then it turns white. When it turns white, that lets you know you can pick it, because as it begins to ripe, it'll turn brown. And so you see Noni juice. Noni juice is usually brown, dark brown. So that lets you know the Noni, like when it turns brown, you can actually eat it fresh. But generally what happens is that you harvest a bunch of Noni while it's still white. And it's about maybe smaller than my fist. And you let it sit in a jar, and you just let it sweat. You let it break down. And you can let it sit for, the longer you let it sit, the stronger it will get. And basically, you know, after maybe a month or two, you wanna strain it because there'll be a lot of seeds and fiber, and you'll have this real Noni tincture. I mean, you can drink it as is. It doesn't spoil. Like I said, it just gets stronger, and it's a great thing to have like first thing in the morning, or to add to your other juices. I love to add like a shot of Noni to my coconut water. I love it with my citrus juice. So you got to experience it. If you haven't had Noni before, put that on your bucket list, so that you don't, so your bucket, your you know, so it can create a longer bucket list, because you'll be living that much longer. All right. So what do you mean by eating water? Let me put that question up. All right. So what do you mean by eating water? If I juice a cucumber, is that considered eating it? Is there any fiber in the juice of a? Is there any fiber in the juice of a cucumber, or only the skin? Well, the cucumber is 95, 99% water. So if you're juicing it, obviously you're removing that little bit of fiber. But yes, what I mean by eating your water is basically creating fruit meals. If you're eating a high amount of fruit, you won't find it necessary to just try it. Try eating fruit for a whole day. You will not be thirsty. And when I say fruit, I'm talking apples, oranges, papayas, mangoes, melons, etc. Just go on a fruit fast, a fruit diet. You will not be thirsty. And you will be urinating a lot. A lot. You will be urinating a lot. So more so than if you're drinking pipe water. You know, these commercial fancy waters that you know is all marketing. It's just marketing, and they're not really, you know, we're still dehydrated. If we're not eating our water, there's a level of dehydration. The body's tissues and organs are not truly being hydrated. Why? All right, think about a juicer. First of all, if you put a dehydrated bread, you put anything dehydrated into a juicer, nothing is gonna damage the juicer. But then you can run the water on the juicer, and then it'll wash out the starch or whatever you put in. But the juicer is not, after a while of doing that, the juicer is going to fail. You just can't keep putting dry fiber, dry starch dressed in spices and oils and expect the juicer to operate at an efficient level. Yeah, it's almost like you have to pour the water down which is what we do. This is what we do. We pour the water, it's like we pour the water in with the dry stuff, with the heavy, overly stimulating dry foods. And again, as a chef, I can appreciate, I've come up with concoctions, dehydrated bread, and pies, and cookies and chips and crackers, and every once in a blue moon I will eat a little bit of it. I will indulge. When I say indulge, lightly, like no more than a handful. No more than a handful. And then I'll feel it. I will feel the difference. Like if I eat something, like I'll know how, especially I'll feel it the next day. I'll know because I won't produce as much urine, which means that, that's a level of dehydration. A level of dehydration. All right. How much fruit juice is optimal within a day? How much fruit juice is optimal within a day? Well, we've answered this a few times. I would say at least I personally would drink about a quart of coconut water, a quart, which is 32 ounces, I believe. Sometimes up to a half gallon, but usually about a quart, and then another quart of fruit juice. So I'll drink about close to a half gallon of juice in a day. Which, if you're eating fruits and then you have your salad, again, there's no need for any additional water. No need. The whole thing with water is, again, it's marketing. It's a business. There's a chapter in my book. I don't have a copy of it to show you, but you can check out my book, Paradise Health. It's on Amazon. It's on my website, KeppersRawFoodJuiceBar.com. Yeah, the business of water. Water is big business. Water is big business, and a lot of these waters are dead water, and it's unregulated. So you're drinking. When you're buying water, you're paying for the bottle. You're paying for the pretty bottle that looks hydrating, and they put it. But legally, because it's unregulated, they can. You could just be drinking filtered tap water. They don't have to tell you exactly what's in the bottled water. Unless it says 100% mountain spring, from the glacier, etc. And even in that case, it's still been treated. It's still been, because water. Water can only sit stagnant in a bottle for a certain amount of time. Water, when they bottle this water, that water is moving. It has energy, it has life. So I will drink, like, let's say, we got there's a stream here when we do the hike, and the hike is. It's an experience. Beautiful mountain range scenery. But we'll go to this stream, and I'll drink that water. I'll just have, and because it's moving. Usually, if I see fresh water, it's moving, I will drink it. That's the only exception that I will drink. I would drink that type of water. So yes, so that's the amount of water I will drink, and that's the amount of fruit juice I will drink as well. And there's one thing we didn't talk about was green juices. But the thing is that greens have very little juice in them. And the thing is that so many people think green juice is superior to fruit juice. Again, that's just part of demonizing fruit sugars. Fruit sugars have, we're designed to eat fruits with greens. That is the diet. And the thing is like, pound for pound, probably for every pound of greens that we eat, we can eat up 5-10 pounds. For every 1 pound of greens, we can eat 5-10 pounds of fruit, because that's how our system, we're designed. We won't get candida, we won't get diabetes, we won't get fat from eating fruit sugar packaged in fresh fruit. If we're eating fresh fruit, it's not going to create diabetes. It's not going to create candida, overweight, all of the issues we find when people eat high sugar carbs, concentrated carbohydrates, probably the most addictive food, the most addictive substance. People think they're addicted to cigarettes. Yes, that's a real addiction, but there's nothing that trumps eating the addiction of cooked carbs, cooked starches, because a lot of these starches are dressed with oils and fats and spices, and that combination is deadly. Very difficult to get rid of that addiction. All right. So we got another comment here. I've been eating only raw for a month, no starch. I feel great. My only concern is once I eliminated bottled water hold on, I guess it's a part 2. Once I eliminated bottled water, I started getting acne, even though I was eating my water from fruits and vegetables. Well, again, you might be, acne as a result of maybe too much oil, maybe too much nuts, avocado. So that's really more or less just eating less oils, watching your oil content. Then that will definitely produce the acne. Usually in our salads, we'll dress them up with, heavy oil. Heavy oils, heavy. My live ended here on Instagram. I think I hit something wrong. Hold on a second. Okay. So yes. Instagram started acting up. Yes. So yeah. So that's one of the things. Another thing. Another thing about, as far as your fat, because that's one of the things is, when you get on raw, you can gravitate to a lot of fat, which is not a bad thing, especially if that helps you to feel satiated. One way to measure if you're eating too much fat is your stool. If you find your stool is a little too soft, not to be overly graphic, but I mean, we're all adults here. We understand that. But if the stool's a little too soft, then that lets you know you're also eating a little bit too much oil, too much avocado. So that's another tip. Okay, here's another good point. Another good point. What if you already have candida? Will the fruit juice add to it? Well, you first of all, if you have candida, fruits didn't create candida, and fruits will hold on, I'm trying to get my Instagram back up. I don't know what's happening with it, but anyway, if you already have candida, again, fruit didn't create the candida. Now, will fresh fruit juice add to it? I would really focus more on eating whole fruits versus drinking fruit juice if you already have candida. Really, the thing is that the candida the fruit juice will not. Yes, it may initially feed the candida, but it will correct the candida if you're patient with it and you're able to. Hold on, I think that's the problem. Okay, I think we're back on Instagram. That was a problem. I didn't put the do not disturb on. So yes, so with the candida, you definitely want to eat more fruit. Fruit will help to heal candida. Again, you're going to get your sugar from somewhere, and you might as well get it in the best form, in the most healing form, which is our fresh fruits. Here's another good point, good question. Rainwater. Someone told me to collect rainwater and drink it, but I live in NYC. Not sure about that. I would agree with you, my brother. Rainwater is the water we should be using. I mean, just growing up in upstate New York, experiencing snow. I mean, a bunch of us would eat snow. I mean, snow is like the most delicious tasting water. And what was that? That's frozen rainwater. So rainwater is a soft water. It's distilled. It's oxygenated. Again, it's really the ideal water. It's the perfect water for us to drink. And so, but if you live in these urban centers, yeah, I mean, that's a question. The question is like, would it be better to drink rainwater from, you live in a place like New York City, a very congested, toxic environment, than drinking, let's say, bottled water? That's a good question. I would probably venture to drink the rainwater. Yeah, if I had to pick the lesser of two evils, I would say the rainwater is probably a better bet than your bottled water. All right. Here's a good question. How do we start a raw diet? How do you start a raw food diet? Well, the best way to probably start a raw food diet is to do a juice cleanse. If you can juice cleanse for a week, maybe even a few weeks, that will really help to reset the taste buds, reset the system. Doing that for at least, again, a week or two or even three. If you're overweight, you could even do longer. That is a really good way to really start. And then, once you break the fast, you want to do lots of fruits and basically stay on fruits and salads. And when you need a crunch or you need something, dense, you go to your dehydrated snacks. If you need your nuts and seeds and avocados, you go to that. But really it's a focus on the greens. And I'm going to test myself here. And I'm testing myself because there's a video I have, and I talk about this, but I haven't talked about this in a while, so it's a test because it's been a while. But there's 5 steps to becoming and staying raw. So the first one is, I mentioned it already, becoming green. How do we become green? We become green by basically removing the cooked starch and replacing it with green leafy vegetables. That does the most important thing that does. It removes the acidic, dehydrating starch with an alkaline green, alkaline mineral salt green. And what that's going to do is really kind of rewire the system and change the taste buds. So that's one. The second one I mentioned too, detoxify. You got to detox. You got to start with a cleanse. You got to, and it's got to be a regular thing, because again, you got to continuously reset the system and because what you're doing is you're creating more sensitivity. You're creating a, basically you're hydrating the system really for the first time. We're not truly hydrating ourselves. We're just really washing away the cooked starch. By drinking all of this water, all of this bottled plain water, it's not hydrating. So we got to detoxify and cleanse the system. So green, you got to detoxify. The third one is you gotta know how to make a good salad. You got to become a chef. You don't have to become a fancy raw gourmet chef, but you definitely got to know how to get in the kitchen and start to make your own food, become responsible for your nourishment. Number 4 is you're going to have to make new friends. And maybe you have to even get new family. That's a real one. That's probably the toughest one, is who's in your group, who's in your network. Food is family, food is traditions, food is memories. It's nostalgic. It's ancestral. So by changing your diet, it's like you're changing all of that. And I find that that's probably the most difficult one. All right, so let's recap, because I know there's one more, and I haven't. And again, that's why I knew this was going to be a test, and I may not be able to come up with the 5th one. But it's becoming green, fasting, knowing how to make a good salad, who's in your social group, and there's one more, I can't think of it, but those are the 4 steps. It's really 5. If it comes to me later, I'll mention it, but those are the 4 steps to becoming and staying raw. There's one more, I can't think of it. Anyway, all right, here's let's see, next question. Yeah, once I stopped eating cooked foods, my menstrual cycle went from 7 days to 3 days of light bleeding. That alone will keep me raw. I mean, amen to that. Yeah, the thing is like, pain is a motivator. We gotta. The thing, and the other thing too, I'm gonna tell you about. When you really start going down the raw food path, everything that we eat can taste good, and we can enjoy when we're eating it. However, the question you got to ask is how you feel after you eat that food. Usually after a raw food meal, if you eat a well-balanced raw food meal, you will feel even better after you've eaten the food than even while eating the food. And usually 99 times out of 100, if you're eating a cooked food meal, you can't say that, especially once you start going raw and you start to have something cooked. The feeling that you have immediately, it might taste good while you're eating it, but the feeling that you have right after, when you eat that food is not going to be, is not going to be satisfying. Yeah. All right. Yeah, amazing. I'll be dancing in the kitchen while I'm cooking and eating, etc. Totally different now than back then. It's crazy. Yeah, family. So again, this is what it's about. We go down this path. Immediately you'll feel a great amount of joy and energy and freedom. Especially once we really start to detox and really, this whole detox word. I mean the thing is, like, even when we're doing really a juice cleanse, yes, we are detoxing. The body is correcting itself, is resetting itself. But the other part of it is that, when we're using, I don't recommend, this is why I don't recommend water fasting. I don't recommend water fasting. Now, when you detoxify, you cleanse, you will lose weight and all of that is great when doing water fasting. But when you start to use juicing and coconut water versus water, there's so many more benefits. First of all, you're gonna really more enjoy. You're not gonna enjoy. I don't know anyone who's like, man, I'm really enjoying this water. I'm really can't wait for my next cup of water. Like, no. You might be a little strange if you could say that. But you can definitely say that as far as your juice. Now, I mean, yeah, okay, you may feel hungry and you want to eat something else, at least in the first few days. But once you get past that hurdle and the joy and the freedom that you feel because you won't feel hungry and you really will look forward to your juice, man, there's a certain level of freedom with that. Like, just to be like, food, what's that? And you really can, because really what's happening is that we're really starting to use all of the stored up residue. And usually the residues are stored up as fat in the tissues. So when we start to, my phone is buzzing. When we start to tap into these residues as fuel, there's a freedom and a joy, because that's what those residues are there for. Those residues are there for the rainy day, for the day that actually happens to actually be a famine, or you just don't have access to food. I mean, once upon a time, that was real. That was real for people, where we would have a famine, and we would be in a situation where we didn't eat. So the body intelligently will store. This is why we should eat fats and proteins. We eat fats and proteins to basically have them for a rainy day, to store the tissue, to store the excess residue that we have, for the rainy day. So yeah, we've been having trouble with the IG. All right, so yeah, so wow, it's already an hour 15 minutes. This time has gone by so fast. If you have any more questions, Kepper, do you have any videos on raw foods for beginners? I will have some on my YouTube. I keep promising, but that got delayed as I came here. Yeah, the IG, the audio is going out. I keep getting phone calls, and it messes up the sound. So that's what happens with the IG. But yeah, if you're on IG, you want to come over, and as we finish up on YouTube, we'll finish up on YouTube. All right. So are we still serving food? Yes, I am still serving food out of DC. We're still serving food. You can go on KeppersRawFoodJuiceBar.net, and we deliver every day. So yes. So we'll leave it there. Again, just to wrap up, today we talking about water, mainly bottled water. Are you drinking a gallon of water, 2 gallons, whatever of this, bottled reverse osmosis Kangen water every day? I say that you are definitely drinking too much water. If anything, it is just really just overworking your kidneys, and it's not hydrating you. As I said, we got to think of this body as a juicer. The body as a juicer is, just imagine putting some bread down a juicer. It'll probably break the juicer, but our bodies are able to be resilient and basically draw on the moisture that's already in our cells so it almost rehydrates the bread to help break it down. Therefore, it's really taking more than it's giving. And then, but then it creates, it only has so much moisture it could draw upon. So then it creates a craving for thirst, which then, then we drink the excess water. So, we're on like these, we're on this extreme, we're bouncing off of these extremes, when really, right, the perfect food is our fruits. And if we eat, we start creating meals out of fruits, then we're truly eating our water. And even with our salads, we want to, keep it simple. Every once in a while, we can indulge on a raw gourmet meal here and there, but for the most part, we really want to keep it simple. We want to keep, because it's about water, it's about hydration, but the best water is what nature produces for us. Our coconut water being at the top, and then all of our fresh fruits falling right below that. Any downside? Are there any downsides to juice fasting? That's a good one. That's a good question. I don't know. I can't really think of any downside to juice, especially if we're talking fresh juices. Yeah, I can't think of really any downside. Even for, because even, one of the things that, I didn't mention is that, it becomes dangerous for folks who have diabetes to fast on water, but safe if they're fasting on coconut water and fresh juices. So I don't know if there's any real downside to juice fasting. Yeah, I'm gonna meditate on that. But I know that there are pros and cons, and I've done videos on that before. You know, from water fasting to fasting on the breath to coconut water to juice fasting. But I can't think of any downside to juice fasting. All right. Well, yeah, we're an hour 20 minutes in. I've had a good time. Yes, this has been fun. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed the video, definitely like, share, and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Yeah, I've had trouble with the IG. Yes, and I'll finish up by saying that yes, there is the only downside is that, you know, from the actual processing of the fruit. That is a good point. Yes, that is probably the one downside is that we do get you know, there is the downside in terms of processing the fruit, because there will be some oxidation. Uh, so the thing is that, but you know, for the most part, the benefits are going to outweigh that, because you know what juicing allows for us to do is, again, you know, I talked about it earlier, getting more by doing less. So really the juicing is really the lazy man way to say, you know what, I want to get this whole pineapple in me, but I don't want to eat the whole pineapple. It's easy for me to drink the juice from the pineapple, or even if I blend it into a smoothie. And you know, but it's better to get it in if you got to use a blender or a juicer than to not get it in at all. All right. So, you know, this technology ain't perfect. And obviously when we do that, it's that's the one downside. So thank you for that, Sun Eyes, Sister Sun Eyes. All right. So oh, last thing here. I want to definitely talk about this. Any tips for juices that help it? All juices help with inflammation. If you basically, inflammation, your body is on fire. Your body is on fire. And when you start the juicing, that will put out the fire. The fire is there for a reason. It's there for a reason. There's a lot of, you know, it's trying to burn. It's trying to burn up it's trying to burn up the toxins and the debris. So again, the reaction is the medicine. But if we don't, but it'll bring a discomfort and pain, but that is the medicine. So in order to get rid of the discomfort and the pain is that we got to stop feeding we got to stop giving it a reason. You know, the inflammation is you know, those are the firemen creating the fire to put out the fire, to put out the issue. So we got to bring in the moisture. We got to eat our water. So we'll leave it there. Some great questions. Thank y'all for tuning in. And I will see y'all next week. Peace, love, blessings.